Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure. It's always good to hear different people's kind of stories and perspectives. So if you just kind of want to introduce yourself a little bit, kind of let the people know.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So my name's Emma Thompson. I go by Fitness by Emma96 on Instagram. Basically, I've only been into fitness for I think about 8 months. But I started going to the gym January as a basic white girl move. New Year's resolution and that. It's been good just learning new things. I mean, I'm a mum of a 2-year-old. So yeah, I live in the UK and obviously just try to tackle Corona as well as parenting.
Yeah, I mean, definitely just even one of those things is a challenge, but adding both of those together, I'm sure is just
Yeah.
craziness. So
Well, I thought I'd do my PT course whilst this whole thing was going on, just for something to do. And I just got really interested in it. I think obviously it is something that's really good to learn about, especially if you're interested in this sort of industry.
so you said you kind of just got into doing the course just for something to do. Um, I didn't know if you were just kind of self-educating or if you were going to kind of help people, a coach or something like that, or if you were just kind of trying to get more knowledge for yourself. What was that kind of the intention there?
First it was for more knowledge for myself, but then I started to realize that a lot of young mums my age, because I'm only 23, a lot of young mums, as soon as they've had a kid, they'll let themselves go because they just think, oh, do you know what, I can't be bothered, the gym's not fun, like, I feel bad about myself, da da da. I just think it's so important to look after yourself after having a kid, because you get back your own identity. And it's nice to have that sort of thing. Like when I'm at the gym, I'm not mum or anything like that. I can just be myself and I can better myself. Whereas at home, I am mummy and that is my situation there. But yeah, like I say, I wanted to help other young mums who were in the sort of same situation as me, not just young mums, but mums in general.
It's a really pretty cool reason to do it for sure. Just to, anytime you can help somebody else out, but especially somebody that you can relate with and that can relate to you. I think the connection there between kind of the trainer and client or coach and client is just a little bit deeper, and it kind of pushes the people that you're helping to just kind of dig a little bit deeper, because if they can see that you've done it and, you're still doing it, then it kind of encourages them to keep pushing as well, I think.
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it? Like, if I can take my own life experiences and help other people who might just think, oh, I don't even know where to start. Because that is what I was at. I was like, oh, do you know what? I'm going to have my baby, and then that's just going to be it for me. I'm never going to look good again. But it's not the case at all. You don't have to be, the mum that your kid's embarrassed about in school playground. You can look good. Like, you don't need to let yourself go just so you can look after your own child. You can do both. And this is what I'm trying to get across to people on my page, is the fact that you can be a good mum and you can look good whilst you do it.
So you talked about you started pretty recently with your fitness journey, or whatever you want to call it. What did you start out doing? Where did you look to get that information?
Well, basically, when I first started, do you know what? I wasn't going to the gym, and this was just before Christmas. I just started dieting, I think that a lot of the weight is lost in the kitchen, but it's also done with strength training. So first, I was sorting out all my meal plans. So January, I got a gym membership, as you do. And so I joined there. And at first, obviously, I didn't have a clue about weights or anything. I really wanted to do it, but I was like, oh my God, people are going to laugh at me. So I just stuck to cardio for the first couple of weeks. And then it was actually my friend Lizzie, who is a PT, who came with me to the gym one time. She just sort of showed me all the different sorts of equipment. I think that's the push that I needed in order to get into resistance training. I mean, obviously, at the moment now, what I'm doing is I'm basically just concentrating on resistance. I'm doing cardio like 3 times a week. But I have got a new coach, Lucy Cook, who is amazing at what she does. So obviously, if you're listening, give her a follow. She's given me a plan to be able to start bulking, because I have lost a bit too much weight over quarantine. I'm loving weight training again. It's just amazing. I mean, You just get to see what you're actually capable of. It's not about the aesthetic part of it. It's actually about what you're capable of doing, which is amazing when you get past that part of thinking, oh no, I just want to do this to look good. No, when you get to the part where you're actually impressing yourself, that's an amazing feeling.
Impressing yourself, I think, builds a lot of confidence, and that self-confidence, I think, goes a long way in making it a lifestyle instead of like a short term. Sometimes a lot of people get stuck in, they'll go a couple weeks or a couple months, then they'll stop, and they'll get motivated again and they'll stop. But I think whenever you do find that self-confidence, it can kind of boost you into more of a lifestyle change.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I think that if you do enjoy, the diet, should we say, it's gonna last like as a lifestyle rather than just, oh, it's just a fad. So instead of losing weight 20 times, you're losing weight once and actually enjoying your new lifestyle.
Yeah, that's a big thing. You mentioned dieting, and you started off on the diet and nutrition kind of the thing first, which I think that's a really important thing for people to realize, is that it really does change in the kitchen, and from what you eat, what you put in your body is everything. So, starting there and making sure you're incorporating, those good foods as you go. How do you handle your dieting and nutrition stuff now?
Yeah, so basically, when I first started off, I was actually really good. I'd obviously get my meal prep boxes and I'd section it off. I cut out carbs for a full month, and that means pasta, bread. I even cut out rice, and that was horrible. I think that's how I lost so much muscle and weight, and it was the worst way to do it. And I thought, oh, you know what? I'll try this. You know what? It's all about experimenting with different things that work for you, but I would not ever recommend cutting out carbs completely. Now I make sure I have more protein and veg than anything, but more importantly that I'm sticking to my macros. Like I say, getting a coach really does help with that. Lucy has put me on sort of a macro plan. She's not been as fully like where she's telling me what to do every single day, with meal plans and that. She's just basically giving me a target to hit, and I can have any food that I want as long as I hit those macros. So yeah, no, that's how it is at the moment. To be honest with you, I feel so much better about myself. I don't feel guilty if I have an off-plan meal, I'll have a few drinks a week and I don't feel guilty. I'm not constantly checking the scales. I don't remember the last time that I checked the scales. But yeah, no, everything's good at the moment. I'm in a really good place. I think it's hard, obviously, at first when you do first start doing this, and going to a point where they're scared of different foods, and that could obviously turn into an eating disorder. But it's all about getting past that, having a good, healthy relationship with food, reach the goals that you want.
We actually have an episode where we talk about, not moralizing food or eating it. Don't feel bad when you do eat something, and if you're having some kind of day where you want to snack and do all this other stuff, just do it. Now I think it's getting more attention as to kind of understanding how to do it healthier, and I think it's on a pretty good track.
Exactly, yeah. If you start to remember what you used to be like before going to the gym and before getting into all of this, did anyone actually care about what they ate? Did you actually look that far into things? No, you didn't. So why should you be overly obsessing over your food? As long as you're training, as long as you're eating healthily and you're having a few treats here and there, you're perfectly fine. Like, I train about 6 times a week. I'm allowed a glass of wine if I want one. So yeah, no, I think it's part of a learning curve, and I think a lot of people do go through it. In order to learn, you need to make mistakes, and that's what I just put it down to.
Like you said too, just getting somebody that can help you along the way, that can kind of be a guiding force, not just telling you like, hey, this is what you need to eat, but telling you, hey, it's going to be okay that this happened or that happened. I think is a really big part of your or anybody's journey, because we all have that self-doubt, and when we can kind of get that mental reinforcement, it's a really big player into keeping us in the game.
it can be so dangerous when you're messing about like this and you don't actually know what you're doing. So, like you say, even if you get a bit of advice from someone, someone who you trust or someone where they've got like good reviews, like personal training or even like PT, like I'm sure that if you ask them, they're going to give you some help. Like the PTs at my gym, they saw the quarantine, there was like, you've lost so much weight, like you need to stop restricting yourself. It was only at that point where I realised how much weight I had lost. I just completely changed and I still thought I was fat. Like, because I think if you perceive yourself as being overweight for such a long time, when you've actually lost the weight, you don't realise it. You look in the mirror and you're still seeing the same thing. And I think that's where eating disorders come from. So you need to have the mental capacity to actually get past that and be able to look in the mirror and be like, right, okay, no, I've done well. This is how I can prove that I've actually, lost the weight or toned up, gained the muscle. You need to look at facts rather than what's just in your head.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's a big mental game as far as just the health and wellness, fitness, diet, nutrition, all that stuff goes. You have to have the right mindset, and you can't always trust your mind or your eyes, because it can be tricky sometimes that I'm seeing one thing but everybody else is seeing something else. So what's the reality? How do you think social media impacts people as far as their diet and their fitness goes? Do you think it's a positive? Do you think it's a negative? Somewhere in between?
Oh God. I don't know. Do you know what? There's been, I think, about 5 times that I've deleted my Instagram because I get so annoyed over what people post. I've had supplements. I'm like, why? Why have you got food supplements? I've had people saying they're going to lose 9 pounds within like 3 weeks. And again, I'm like, why are you doing that? But the thing is, like it is good. It is good. It's been good over quarantine. It's got people a lot more active. It's given people ideas. But I think now that the gyms are open, it's gotten a little bit unhealthy to the point where people are actually like following what people eat, copying the same things. And I know that my coach actually said this on her podcast. She was saying how you shouldn't be copying what people eat because at the end of the day, that's tailored to them. It's not. It sees me when people are posting stuff like, stay on like 1,000 calories, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
The thing is though, it's like you see perfection on Instagram and it's not necessarily real. It's not. And there's so many different ways that you can airbrush photos, and it's just not healthy to keep looking on it. So I'd just recommend spending a certain amount of time and getting ideas, because otherwise it can overrule your life like it did with me. I had in my head what I wanted to look like. And to be honest with you, what I wanted to look like, no one could have actually gotten to that point.
Yeah.
Because it's just not real in my head. It's been airbrushed. But no, I think social media's okay. It's not amazing, but it's good for should we say it was good for quarantine closed.
Yeah, there's definitely those pages that you kind of need to avoid, just because everything is so perfect on them, and when you start comparing yourself and your life to all that, you just can't compare it, and it becomes like a Debbie Downer every time you look at it. And all the progress you've made, it just seems like so insignificant compared to it. But I do think it gives people a good starting out point, a good kind of baseline for, I don't really know what to do, but I can kind of check this out and get some ideas. But using Instagram or even somebody's account that knows what they're doing as a personal trainer or as like a guidance book is just a bad road to go down, because like you said, it's all just tailored to that person.
And plus you've got to take into account like people's health and that. Like, not everyone's the same. People might have different health issues. They don't know what injuries you've got, you know, if you've got any at all. So I just think that speaking to a coach or just speaking to someone who's just professional and knows what they're talking about, rather than following all these people who don't know you and you don't know them personally, and just doing what they do just in hopes that you'll get somewhere. Sometimes it works, and just being disappointed because you're not reaching those same results because your body's not the same as theirs. You need to take into account your height, your weight, the age, how stressful of a home life you've got, your sleep, food intake. So there's so many different components to fitness, and people think it's just straightforward. Oh, if I eat this, if I do this, then that's it, that's going to be fine. No, it's not. No, you need to sort of invest in some real information by someone who knows what they're doing.
You said you've been working out for the last about 8 months and got some good progress, but what are your goals looking forward?
My goals do change quite a lot, as they should. You should never just have one goal that you're sticking to throughout, because I just don't think that that's healthy. So before, obviously, my goal was to slim down, get rid of the body fat. Now I'm gaining muscle on my legs, on my glutes. I want to tone up my back. So yeah, no, at the moment, that's what's going to be happening for the next few months or so. Then we'll just see where we are from there. But obviously, I just think you should have short-term goals in fitness rather than the long-term goals, because short-term goals, obviously, you're only doing what you're doing for a short amount of time. So for instance, if you're cutting your carbs down, you can't do that forever. It's not sustainable. So yeah, no, I think short-term goals are the way forward, really, and mine at the moment is just bulking the muscle a little bit more, but yeah, just staying as healthy as I can.
Yeah, I think that what you just said, staying as healthy as I can, I think that should be everybody's long-term goal, regardless of what you're pushing to do physically or in your diet. I think that's kind of the goal of just doing any type of fitness program or nutrition program. I just think long term, staying as healthy as I can is kind of the best way to put it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you're eating healthily, like, I know that my moods have changed drastically since eating the right food. Still having, what I want every now and again, but just eating good food, and it has changed me. Like, I'm a lot more positive as a person, as well as being able to slow down. I've just been able to, like, stay awake longer than I would have been able to. But yeah, no, it is a good long-term goal, that just staying healthy, because that is what we all want to be. Because staying healthy means that your moods are going to be a bit more positive, your lifestyle's going to be a little bit better. So yeah, definitely.
It's a weird thing, because we often think, I want to chill out and eat junk food all day and that'll make me happy. But, in that moment it does, but then it really doesn't long term. And it's a weird kind of trade-off between long-term happiness and short-term happiness, and how that healthy lifestyle really can make us long-term happier.
Obviously, if you're eating junk food and that, I mean, it's fine. It's not a massive deal. But that you're going to be thinking, oh God, I shouldn't have done that. But if you're having healthy meals, healthy balanced meals, and by eating healthy meals, I'm more willing to be able to do more family activities, go on walks and stuff, be able to get myself to the gym on the days that I want to go. So yeah, no, healthy eating definitely is a massive part in it. And I think in order to conquer the fitness part, you need to conquer the healthy eating, like, massively. Because it's like what I say to everyone else is, one of my main things is to make sure you're eating healthily in order to have that stamina at the gym and be able to keep up with things. So yeah, definitely.
Do you have anything that you kind of want to add here?
Just basically stop looking for inspiration from these unreal models on Instagram. That's basically all I've got to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really good advice.